fantastic lunch. Now I'm very happy to introduce Michelle Aguirre from General Motors, Community Partnerships Program Manager, and she has a little something she would like to present.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Super excited to see everyone and just all the knowledge sharing. It's been great. So we actually brought about 4 different models. They're limited editions of vehicles that are made, and not real ones. But based off right, but based off of the panelists as we're observing, and just really hearing some of the impactful things that are happening within your organizations, we wanted to actually give a couple out right now before you all start leaving. So the first one that we'd like to give is the 9/11 Memorial, and we would like to present that to Rear Admiral Dan. So if you could come to the front. And the second one that we'd like to give to is to Bruce Townsend. So come on up, Bruce.
That is way cool.
So part of the reason behind this and why we gave you, Dan, Rear Admiral Dan, the reason we gave you this one is because your story just really touched us. And as I'm sure, 9/11 has affected many here in the state of New York, around the world, right? And so your story was just really touching. And so we just felt like we wanted to give you this one. And Bruce, we just loved your energy and loved all the informative knowledge. And I'm sure we'll be keeping in touch with you as well, because we're very curious with both of you, a lot of the information that we'd like to kind of dive into from General Motors. So, and I was like, all right, now to the good stuff. No, oh, sure.
I'm going to tell you why this is so important. And when we talked before lunch, my dad was a Pearl Harbor survivor, 19-year-old sailor. His ship was sunk at Pearl Harbor. But his career was with General Motors in St. Louis. And that's where 5 kids were supported in South St. Louis for the job at General Motors. And he spent 30 years there. So
He didn't know he was getting that.
every one of my brothers and sisters will be proud of this. So thank you.
Okay. Also, I know we just ate lunch, so please stay with me. This is a heavy topic. And so when we get into the dialogue, we won't have questions after. So this will just be kind of a back and forth dialogue. Okay. If the panelists could please come up. All right. So thank you, all of you, for being here and taking the time to really discuss the veterans groups that you have and the resources that you have. We're looking for great advice, success stories, and just lessons learned in general. But before we start that, I'd like for each of you just to kind of take some time to introduce yourself. And if you've served, you're more than welcome to state that. And a fun fact. Give us a fun fact.
Can everybody hear me? Okay. My name is Greg Ham. I'm the Vice President of Field and Government Recruiting at Werner Enterprises. I proudly served in the United States Army for 6 years. And fun fact, I've jumped out of an airplane 128 times.
My name is Darby Mee, and I am the Vice President of Public Sector at Virtual Service Operations. I am currently still serving as a Lieutenant Colonel in the Marine Corps Reserve, so special thanks, Bruce, for everything that you're doing as well. Definitely appreciate that presentation. Fun fact about me, I've got 5 small children at home that cause a lot of fun. So.
Do they like crayons?
All the time.
Damian Plopes here. I'm a partner with KPMG's Financial Service Regulatory Compliance Practice. I also sit on KPMG's Veterans Advisory Board, and lead the New York chapter of Veterans Network. I served in the Army from 2002 to 2005. Did a tour in Baghdad during that time. And fun fact, between my time in the Army and now, I was a bounty hunter and worked with Dog the Bounty Hunter once in my career.
So if you need a bounty hunter.
Hello, everyone. I'm Frank McCrae. I don't know if I can really go after all their fun facts, but I work with United Rentals. I'm an operational excellence manager. Been with the company for 10 years. So what we do is a lot of the efficiency stuff, right? The corporate folks that come in and nobody wants to see. I've been the veteran liaison for our corporate veterans for a little over 2 years now. And fun fact about me is one time I was walking around the outlets and some employees come running out of the clothing stores and they're like, they said The Rock was here. And I was like, oh, wow, okay. No, not me. It's not me, but thank you. Must be the bald head, I guess. Peanut butter complexion.
Too funny. Okay, well, as you all know, Nick introduced me as well. So my name is Michelle Aguirre. I work with General Motors. I am the, hang on, sorry, I just lost my train of thought. I am the company program manager for all of our communities. And I also served in the military. I was in the Army as a military police officer. And I know all of you love me and the SRT as well, the SRT team. So, all right, so I guess we'll get started with a couple of questions. I will start with the first question. So what were the key steps in launching your veteran ERG and what challenges did you face in the beginning? And how about we start with Damien?
Yeah, so I think obviously I didn't launch her initial Veterans ERG. However, I did launch her chapter for Denver. One of the biggest challenges we faced there was we didn't have a lot of veterans, like actual true veterans in the office. So we had a lot of veteran spouses, we had a lot of veteran children, things like that. And just really getting it out there to people to understand that it's not just being a veteran, it's about supporting an allyship and things like that as well. So I think the messaging across our firm just really was not great initially. To let people know that just if you're a proud supporter of the military, we want you as part of our ERG. We want you as part of the group. We want you to be supportive. So I think we've done a really great job at changing that messaging and making it more inclusive to everybody since then. But that was probably the biggest challenge I think we faced was getting it launched with the right support from the right people that were non-veterans, but very supportive of the veteran community.
If anyone else wants to chime in, you're more than welcome to. Okay, so I guess I'll go to the next question. How do you structure your veterans ERG? So examples given are like your leadership, your memberships, your initiatives, and what has worked best for engagement? Frank.
Oh, yeah. So I would say how we structured our ERG. First of all, United Rentals is probably the largest rental company in the world with close to 25,000 employees, 1,800 locations, as well as about 3,000 veterans and veteran spouses. So with that, we need structure. And the way our structure is really it's corporate, and then it's region, district, and then branch level. So, we have, I would say, veteran or let's say executive support on all our ERGs, but specifically with our veteran ERG, we have Antoine Houston, who's, I believe, been here a few years. And so with him, he's our executive lead. And with him, he's helped providing, I would say, more like accountability, clearing roadblocks, clearing ways with other departments, because case in point, you may have some HR type things, right? Sensitive information, legal, even IT and even finance. And then we go into co-leads. So we have co-leads at the corporate level as well. And what the co-leads do is kind of allow us to they're kind of making the plan, right? Executing the plan. And then we actually go into a steering committee as well. And what the steering committee does is help make sure the mission is matching company goals, right? And even resources, because like I said, finance could be involved there as well. And then we have our region leads. And so like my teammate over there, Paul, is one of our region leads. And so what they're doing is executing the plan more on the field level and also communicating company-wide. And then we have what we call program managers. And so they're managing things at the branch level. So like say a Toys for Tots, making sure we have those drop-off locations at the branches. And again, we have 1,500 or 1,800 locations. So we're really trying to have somebody that can manage those events at that level. When it comes to engagement, I would say we have three main, there's a lot of different ways, but I would say three main, right? So we have our let's say internal like Facebook type platform, dedicated veteran emails so they could share information, get information that's needed. And then our biggest thing is what we call Charlie Mike. So it's our monthly conference calls. So we call it Charlie Mike, Continuing the Mission. And what that allows is our veterans to communicate, share. It's a shared space. Just share your experiences, right? From being deployed or what have you. But then also we're able to then bring in guest speakers, like say people like yourselves, people that represent the VA. So last month we actually had the VA on there, just showing how to claim your medical benefits and things like that. So it really, our structure really, like I said, is corporate all the way down to the branch level. But it's not top down because we can also go bottom up as well. Like I said, Paul created for us working with soldier stockings, right? So every year we're pledging 3,000 stockings, if not more. And that's from the, I would say region up or branch up. So it's not just a top down approach to our structure.
Wonderful. I love that.
Sorry for that. A lot. I know it was a lot.
I told you it was a lot of dialogue, right? Okay, so I'm going to ask this next question to Darby and Greg. What advice would you give to an organization looking to establish or strengthen its veterans ERG?
Great, no, appreciate the question. And something that was touched upon, I think, earlier in a few of the other panels, and it may seem obvious, but I'll just go ahead and state the obvious. You got to have veteran involvement. And preferably senior veteran involvement. The way we approach it in our company is while our VP of Ops runs the overall program and she is not a veteran, we have a council which includes veterans from each of the branches of service, which, depending on the size of the company, may not be a luxury that everybody has, but where you can have that quality spread, that's great to have as well because, while I know quite a bit about the Marine Corps, some about the Navy, I don't spend a whole lot of time learning about the Army. No, I shouldn't say that as a field grade officer. But I mean, truth be told, we all kind of speak the same language, but there's certain things about the Air Force experience, or the Army experience that I would be relatively ignorant upon. So in that regard, we try to have that spread across the different branches. And I mean, it's helpful both in programs that we're doing for veterans that we have currently within the company, but also simple things like resume reviews. I know that came up earlier today, and you get all kinds of resumes from veterans. Some are on point, they've been coached, some are not. And it's very helpful to have somebody there looking over the shoulder of that HR specialist to be able to point out, well, this is appropriate, this is not appropriate to what we're hiring for. So that's a really big deal. I would say in addition to that, communication. We went through a change in our veteran leadership probably about a year ago now. And we had a very active Slack channel and email chains and the like, and that kind of died off. And it was noticeable when it did die off until we picked it back up again. But it's a great way to reach out to the folks, especially in a company like mine, where I would say probably 80% of our folks are remote. We're an IT services firm, so a lot of our folks are kind of off on their own. So being able to have that robust communication network kind of helps folks to feel included when they're not necessarily able to see each other every day in an office environment. And then lastly, I'd say, especially if you're starting out and not just trying to build this group, but crack into that talent block, programs like SkillBridge, programs like Hiring Our Heroes. I'll give a plug as well, shameless Marine self-promoter, Marine for Life, excellent program. The Marine Corps has really figured out how to engage with their veterans and give them opportunities once they leave the active service.
Yeah, sure. So I'll just shameless plug, a little pin on my lapel says soldier for life, and it's been around for a long time. I don't know what the Marine Corps' problem was, but they're looking up to the Army once again to try to figure it out. I would just say that, in today's climate, especially, that you've got to have alignment. You got to have alignment with your with the business unit as well. I think it's critically important and an often misstep if you don't align your corporate mission along with the business, along with your ERG or whatever you want to call them, resource groups. So I think if you can get alignment between the business, the resource group, and your overall corporate mission, then you stand a better than average chance of getting people to get really engaged behind the central core mission of the business. So.
Wonderful. So we talked a little bit about getting started, structuring. Let's jump into a little bit of like how you drive the engagement and the impact that you have. And so What strategies have been most effective in engaging both veteran and non-veteran employees in your veterans group? How about Damien?
Yeah, so I think I'd say two things we found have been very successful. One is being truly strategic about it, and the second is offering a variety of types of events. So nobody wants to just do a ruck march every year, just a ruck march. We get inundated between May for Fleet Week here. It's nonstop events the entire month. And then obviously September into November, nonstop events. But then it seems to die off the rest of the year. So we strategically plan things for January, February, March, other times of the year, we're trying to plan events that aren't, it doesn't have to be something big and epic. We do things with the retirement community here. We do things with some of the hospitals. We literally just go and eat pizzas and have lunch with the retirement home. Things that can be cheap and free, things that can be, outdoor activities, indoor activities, just really trying to find a variety of events so that we can get people engaged in things that they're passionate about. And we really do listen to our communities. Like the veteran spouses have had a huge impact on us really increasing our productivity and increasing our events because they want to go out and do things and keep their mind off their spouse is deployed right now, right? They want to do something where they're still part of the community, feel that love, but not worry about who's overseas at the moment, right? So, doing care packages, writing Christmas cards, making people feel welcome, anything we can do. But I think just getting the different level of engagement, because we have folks from, college campus hires who have no relationship to the military whatsoever, but want to do something because they feel passionate about it. And we have people who have done, 35, 40 years in the military. So you can't cater to just one of the other. You have to make sure you spread it out and find some variety of activities. And especially when we went into COVID, being able to do things virtually, we would still do things where we go and make gift packages at home, send things to people's houses, let them put together a care package and send it out to people. Just find ways to continually stay engaged and keep that engagement throughout the year is, I think, the most important part, because if you just do it in May, you just do it in September, you just do it in November, you're not going to get the passion that you need throughout the year.
I love that you kept the momentum during COVID because I know that
it was hard.
probably
It was really hard.
Yeah.
I mean, it got so difficult because everybody thinks everything we did was in person. We did a lot of ruck marches. We did the parade, all these things. And then now it's virtual. It's like, okay, well, what can we do virtually? You can still eat a pizza and read a book and hang out with kids. You can still do care packages. You can do it all together online and stuff like that with Zoom and stuff. So we were able to use technology pretty well in those cases. And then, it also gives people something to do while they're sitting at home in their heads and not being able to see people, sitting at home by themselves for an extended period of time. Making a care package is a good way to get your mind off just sitting there in the monotony.
Yeah, thanks.
I was just going to add one thing. I think it's important to think about, when you think about your ERGs, think about the ERGs not only working in their own silo, whatever that ERG is tailored to, but thinking about, cross-mission effectiveness, right? So if you can get the ERGs to work together with each other on specific events, we have another ERG that's called the Blue Brigade, and they're focused on community engagement, community practice, good community service type work. We do a lot of activities with the Blue Brigade in conjunction with what we call WeVets, which is Warner Veterans. And so if you can get multiple ERGs to work together on a specific project, you build cross-functional engagement across the whole organization.
What do you think, Frank?
Yeah, I think everything they're saying is right on, and stole some of my stuff. But I
was reading your notes.
Oh, you're right. So we have about 7-8 ERGs as well. So we're able to capture a lot of our employees and their interest. But really, I think it's really bringing it down to, again, what do your employees want? And so when it comes to our veterans, I think a lot of them want recognition and they want acknowledgement, right? So we do things like we create swag, right? We have United Rentals clothing, logos for hats, shirts, our safety vests, right? Even if you're a driver or a field mechanic, your truck's going to have on there a military veteran on that truck. So when you're going to our customers, our drivers are kind of like our face of our company. So they're going there and it's saying, hey, you're a veteran. That stuff means something to them as well. So really listening to, I think, your employees and what they want is really, I think, the way to go for creating engagement that way.
Great. Okay, let's go to the next question. How do you ensure executive sponsorships and leadership buy-in for your Veterans ERG initiatives? How about Darby?
Sure. And so I would just start by saying at VSO, I've been very fortunate to be engaged from the get-go with a leadership team at the executive level that really founded the company with our veteran hiring mission in mind. And essentially, one of our founders, his brother, is a retired Army veteran, combat wounded in Iraq. And to make a very long story short, when he was leaving the military, he had, in his view, few options, and was looking at going back to Iraq as a contractor. And his brother's been in IT for a career, and talked to him and said, "Hey, that's crazy. Let's see how we can filter you into an IT career where you've done your time. Let's find something new and rewarding for you." And from that kind of was built out this model that we have, particularly around our managed services business, where we specifically seek out veterans with the aptitude, with the drive, with the desire to transition from fields like infantry or artillery or armor, deck seamen as well. I know we've got some Navy veterans in here, or folks that aren't necessarily on the technical side, or at least the IT side of service, and give them the tools to start and build a rewarding career in IT. And so from that mission, in general, there's been a climate within our executive ranks that has supported veterans, whether in hiring, but also in maintaining and retaining that talent. Some things that we do in addition now would include, we have a program called the 11th, which is, it's on YouTube and LinkedIn. But essentially, what we do is we go out and we highlight our veterans' stories, and we highlight groups that support veteran employment. And that's all been driven from the top down, I guess, just to kind of bring it back around. So in that regard, we've had a very aggressive involvement from our executive ranks. But in more general terms, what I would say for somebody that's trying to build that, first, we need to recognize it's got to be intentional, right? This isn't just a haphazard, oh, it's great to employ veterans, so let's make it a box that we check when we're reviewing resumes. It has to be an intentional investment of time and resources. And then I would say, in addition to that, you've got to show that ROI, right? We've talked a lot about that ROI throughout the course of the day today. What veterans bring to the table, the intangibles, things like discipline, leadership, trainability, and the training that they have. And I think when you're able to clearly articulate that, and back to my initial point earlier, it's helpful if that's a veteran articulating that value prop. But if you're able to clearly articulate that, I think just about any executive is going to see the value in having that group.
Absolutely.
I was just going to say, I'm gonna blow you away with this thoughtful knowledge I'm about to give you. If you want executive buy-in at the highest levels of your organization, you got to invite them. You got to invite them to come to your event. You got to invite them to come down, and you give them the opportunity to tell your story. I don't know a single senior executive leader in the room or in any company around the country today that doesn't want to have handed the microphone and give 5 minutes to tell their story about what they're doing, about what the company's doing. So give them that opportunity. Encourage their support. Encourage them to be part of your group, whether it's a veterans group or whatever group it is, right? Ask them, invite them, tell them that, hey, we want you to get up and tell your story. Tell us about what's happening at your level at the company. Give them that opportunity. And I think, again, just simple communication stuff really helps to build that partnership between the senior executive team and then whatever the ERG is doing at that time.
Yeah, I just add, Darby, you mentioned transitioning from infantry and things like that. I was actually an intel analyst, and I struggled really hard to figure out what I was going to do when I got out of the Army. And my first thought was go back as a contractor. It pays well. I didn't have a college degree. I joined enlisted, and I had no idea what to do. And just trying to translate what I did in the military into a real career of any type in the civilian world, I had no idea how to do that. So that's one of the things I'm really passionate about helping folks with, is helping them translate their skills into a true resume, into a true career path. I mean, I'm in financial services and I would have never expected to go from Intel to banking. Never in my life would I have thought that's where I'd end up. But it worked really well. The analytics, the mindset, the reviewing, reviewing threat assessments was the same as reviewing redlining for mortgages, right? It's different, but it's the same. You're looking at anomalies in data, you're looking at risks and threats, and it was a hard transition, though. And without having somebody that can help coach people through that, it's really hard. So that's one of the big things we really push for, is helping coach people how to transfer their resumes into the civilian language for stuff they're really skilled for and qualified to do.
Love that. Actually, I was going to share a quick story. So we had a senior exec who went to DC and did this fast-paced boot camp and was blown away. Not a service member or veteran or anything. He just wanted to know what it was about. And then he came back and came to our veterans group and told the story of everything that he experienced and just could not believe the amount of training we received, the time it takes, the mental state, everything that you're learning. And he broke down a little bit while we were in there, and everyone's like, it's okay to cry because it is tough. And so you can only imagine the rest of the years or journey of everyone's own journey of what they go through the military to serve the country. And so it was humbling for him. So I think that's another form in terms of you saying, bring the executive. Absolutely do that. Because I think that's where you're going to get the more bang for your money, right? Like just having
Chances
them
are more
experience
money.
it. Right. Yes. But and hiring, right? So he's like he was very supportive and was like, if there are any initiatives, like pull me in. I'm more than happy to engage. So I think that's a great piece that you brought up. Okay, so let's get to the next question. Can you share a success story where your Veterans ERG had a significant impact on a veteran employee or employees or the company culture? How about Darby?
Sure. And in the interest of equal opportunity, I'll share a story about a soldier. Good guy. I have not cleared with him to talk about this, so I'm just going to refer to him as Mike. But Mike came to VSO before I got there. He's been with the company since almost its inception. Infantry background, tactical comms background, retired out of the U.S. Army. And his first gig with VSO was as a business analyst on a program we had here with the state of New York during the pandemic to assure pandemic payouts happened. So not a super technical role. He had a little bit of a management experience there. But that was kind of his first sort of toe into the world of IT. And from there, we put him on a follow-on project where he was allowed to start building some networking skills as a network installer on a large program we had with the VA, refreshing all their network gear across the country. So traveling around to multiple sites, exercising some of those intangibles like his leadership skills and his discipline and what have you, but learning networking at the same time. And he was on that program for a couple of years. And now he's a senior engineer for us on a much larger NASA contract that we're working, where he is doing network monitoring and operating out of one of their major NOC facilities, and looking here in the next year or so to transfer to once again an even larger program that we have in the DC area. So I mean, he's literally the poster child for what we've tried to do with our veteran hiring mission of taking someone with almost no background in IT and turning them into a successful engineer.
Awesome. Okay, so we spoke about driving engagement and impact. Let's jump into maybe some programs and best practices. What are some of the most successful programs or initiatives your Veterans ERG has implemented? Frank?
Yeah, so I think when we talk about United Rentals, talk about size and scope, right? So that we're countrywide, right? So I think of things like the Fisher House. So if you're not familiar with Fisher House, there are locations that are built close to VAs, right? So they're there for veterans when they're in the VA getting some sort of medical treatment. So when they're
May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? This is your fire safety director. We are conducting a test of a public address system. Please disregard any form
Good timing.
or silence behavior.
We're just making sure you're all awake.
We are conducting a test.
This is the fun bunch. This is the
Fire Department of New York, we apologize for any inconvenience you may hear.
Back to our regular scheduled program. All right, Frank.
All right, so as I was saying, so like when we talk about Fisher House, and if you're in Canada, Valor Place, right? And so those are locations that are close to VAs. So when soldiers are needing some sort of medical service or what have you, these are places that their families can stay, right? And usually I think all the costs are covered. So with United Rentals, because we're construction equipment, right? You got to build these places, right? And you got to maintain them. So with us, we're able to donate equipment. We're able to donate to the families as well. But I really think that the impactful piece of that, at least from my experience coming into the company when I first came in, first year or two, my team, we're like, hey, we're going to do a team building event, and we did it out of Fisher House. And so we're out there, lawn and gardening and landscaping, laying sod, right? And so the size of us and the 3,000 veterans, right, we're able to have staff, they volunteer and go out and do these things as well at these locations, as well as I talked about soldier stockings, outreach, right? So our size, we're able to work with all these different locations to put together soldier stockings, which are care packages, right? Which we're sending out to all our soldiers that are on deployment. We also do something, Wreaths Across America, right? So we're volunteering and laying wreaths on the headstones of fallen comrades, right? So those are things that our size and scope, we're able to get out to all these locations. So I think those are really good. Toys for Tots, again, National Drive, we're able to have our location and size really participate in all those locations. We do something 8 years in a row, Soldiers Strong, right? So that organization, right, they're providing all kinds of benefits and scholarships to military veterans, and we partner with them on that. And then we also have Turn for Troops. So we sponsor Graham Rahal and his IndyCar racing team, and so we do $50 for every lap that he does in a season. Right, you know, race cars, I mean, it could be 100 laps per race, right? So we're donating to those type of things as well. So I think those are some things that we really do well and really have worked for us in engagement, and just get our name out there and share for our veterans.
Thanks, Frank. So I know we're kind of running close on time, so I'm going to jump to a couple of other questions just so we kind of get a different variety. But what role does your Veterans ERG play in supporting veteran recruitment, retention, and career growth? Greg?
Well, I think it's, you know, the best thing about being in a room like this or being amongst veterans is just that ability to have some inter-service rivalry, cut up on each other. I mean, if you really broke it down to its most core level, I mean, that's what we all miss. I mean, that's what I miss the most. I miss hanging with the guys. I miss, you know, cutting up with each other. I miss that sense of, yes, God.
Maybe he
I
can
heard
tell us
you.
about his
Yeah,
VERG.
can you tell me about what you? If I stand up and go like this. There we go.
Good point.
So again, I mean, it's just that if giving people the opportunity to get together as a group, you know, have some of that, what we used to have together, that shared camaraderie, that shared burden of suffering that we all went through. And then just giving people that ability to kind of get together and just recreate some of that a little bit, I think is, you know, really helps to drive the sense of community, really helps to drive the sense of, hey, if I'm having a bad day at my current job and we get together as a group and it gives me that chance to recreate that same feeling I have, more than likely I have that ability to share with someone who's in my same group who understands me at the very basic level, maybe did some of the same stuff that I did. And so it just gives me that sense of feeling of being back together with the team, right?
Yeah.
And so building that team camaraderie.
Love that. Can we get some time back on the clock since we lost?
I'd like to reclaim my time, Mr. Chairman.
All right, let's jump into some challenges and lessons learned. We have about 5 minutes, so we'll jump into just these last two questions. Frank, how about you? What are the biggest challenges you faced in managing a veterans ERG, and how have you overcome them, or how has the organization come over them?
I think it's a good question. So I would say the challenges we face are everything I talked about, everything that we do, all those initiatives and everyone that's carrying them out is volunteer work, right? No one's getting paid extra for that, right? So we don't always get people that may just stick with it, right? So what we try to do to circumvent that is maybe do a 2-year tour and then we're rotating somebody else into that role. But then also some of the challenges is, you know, like I said, 3,000 veterans and veteran spouses, not everyone participates, right? And I think the big thing I really take away is it's okay. Right? Don't take it personal. Really, just allow those who want to be there, as long as we provide the resources for them to have this communal place, is really, I think, the solution to it. Right? Just keep it going. So.
Okay. Our last question. We're jumping now into collaboration and future growth. How does your veteran ERG collaborate with other ERGs, departments, or external organizations, Damien?
Yeah, I think I'll start just other ERGs. We collaborate very closely with all of our ERGs. We have ERGs related to the Pride, to African American ancestry, Asian American ancestry. So we try to make sure we highlight when they're doing special events, an Asian American service member, like somebody within the firm who's got ties to the community, or somebody like an ancestor of theirs, or special events, special things within the military, and just kind of hello. We do that all the time. I'll keep talking while it beeps if that's okay with everybody. We try to coordinate as much as we can across the other networks and get them involved with us, let them learn about the military, and teach our military members about the various ways they get involved in the other ERGs. As far as other organizations go, we do a lot of things very similar. Tunnel to Towers, Wreath Across America, Face the Fight with USAA. We're involved in a bunch of organizations across the country. So we try to just get the word out there and let people find what they're passionate about.
I love that. Well, thank you all for such a wonderful dialogue and just really giving us a lot of knowledge sharing. And thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting all of us here, right? And thank you again.
Thank you.
And if you need a GM vehicle, let me know.